What if the next Samsung flagship didn't just improve? What if it redefined what a smartphone can be? No, seriously. What if the Galaxy S26 Ultra ditches the S Pen slot on purpose, not to get rid of it, but to make room for a monster battery that could outlast an iPad? Oh yeah, and they might finally flatten that camera bump everyone loves to hate. Intrigued? You should be. Welcome back, viewers. Sam here. If you're into smart tech, sleek phones, and juicy leaks before they go mainstream, like this video, share it with your favorite gadget buddy, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Alright, let's get into this because Samsung is quietly cooking up something that might flip the script on what we expect from a flagship. So Samsung's been playing a long game with its Ultra lineup. Big screens, beastly cameras, huge batteries, but the design? It's kind of been stuck on repeat. Until now, according to Insider Buzz, the Galaxy S26 Ultra could be Samsung's most refined redesign yet, and it all starts with the camera bump. Gone might be the days of that chunky rear hump. Samsung is reportedly ditching the traditional thin film lens layers and going full sci-fi with inkjet printed matte patterns. Yeah, actual ink sprayed inside the lens assembly to cut down glare and reflections. Sounds weird? It's genius. Not only does it do the job of thicker materials, but it slims everything down, paving the way for a much sleeker rear profile. Here's where it gets really wild. That move could save just enough internal space to open doors elsewhere, like in the battery department. Now picture this, a 7000 mAh battery. That's not a typo. That's potentially more juice than some tablets. Samsung is said to be testing silicon carbon battery tech, the same kind that's showing up in next-gen EVs. And with no S Pen silo hogging space inside, they finally have room to go big. Like marathon streaming, power gaming, forget to charge until tomorrow kind of big. But don't freak out, the S Pen isn't going extinct. Rumors suggest it could magnetically attach to the side, a la iPad Pro style. Snaps on, charges wirelessly, and it's always within reach. It's a small design change, but a massive shift in how Samsung balances features and form. And just when you think that's the biggest twist, hold on, they're not stopping at the battery. There's talk that the Galaxy S26 Ultra could skip the dual telephoto setup we've seen in recent years. Why? Because a new variable aperture main sensor might be so versatile that a second lens just isn't necessary. Imagine a single lens that can handle zoom, low light, and portrait blur, all with pro-level clarity. That means fewer parts, more power, and again, more space. So let's do some quick math here. Thinner lenses, fewer cameras, no S Pen slot. That's a lot of reclaimed real estate inside a device that's already packed to the brim. And Samsung's apparently looking to use every inch to push performance even further. Under the hood, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 2 is expected to take center stage, a chip that can reportedly clock up to 5 GHz, with next-gen graphics and support for LPDDR6 RAM. Translation? This phone's gonna fly. But in some global markets, Samsung might flip the switch back to Exynos, specifically the 2600. Which one is better? That's still TBD, but the fact that Samsung's confident enough to bring Exynos back into flagship territory says a lot. And let's not forget the display. Leaks suggest we're getting ultra-thin bezels, potentially the slimmest ever on a Samsung phone. An under-display camera might still be a year away, but with punch-hole tech getting more discreet, we're not mad at it, especially if the rest of the front feels like holding a piece of edge-to-edge glass. Now here's a fun little rabbit hole. A 324-megapixel camera sensor. It sounds like overkill, right? But Samsung has been pushing sensor development behind the scenes, and if they pull this off, we're talking DSLR-level detail in a phone that fits in your back pocket. Combine that with a rumored 200MP telephoto lens, and we're not just looking at pretty photos, we're talking cinematic-grade content creation. So yeah, while everyone's focused on the usual checklist, chip upgrades, better screens, faster charging, Samsung might actually be solving long-standing pain points. Heavy phones, bulky cameras, tiny batteries. In the S26 Ultra, they're reshaping all of that without watering down the power. And if you're wondering when all of this becomes real, circle January 2026. That's the rumored reveal window, with a full rollout shortly after. But leaks are ramping up now, and history tells us Samsung's early whispers usually come with fire. Let's not overlook the ripple effect either. With the Galaxy S26 looking this ambitious, what happens to the Z Fold and Z Flip line? The Flip 7 FE might drop Snapdragon completely in favor of Exynos across the board. That's a bold move, especially for a foldable that targets more budget-conscious users. Will people care, or will performance take a hit? Meanwhile, the Z Fold 7 is expected to stay with Snapdragon, for now, which keeps it in the pro user lane. But even the Fold might get caught in the wake of the S26 Ultra's radical battery and camera overhaul. Could Samsung's foldables start borrowing design cues from the Ultra line? It's looking likely. So here's what I want to know. What excites you the most? A phone that lasts days on one charge, a camera that can replace your DSLR, or maybe just not having to deal with that camera bump anymore? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read everything. And if this deep dive into Samsung's next flagship got you thinking, trust me, we're just scratching the surface. There's more coming. You're not going to want to miss what's next. Stay curious, stay charged, and I'll see you in the next one.